to my channel, Pearly. I'm Hannah Owen, and I'm so glad that you clicked on this video today. Today I'm going to be talking about trusting your talent. And I'm just going to start from, I'm just going to start from a personal point of view. This is how I have grown to understand trusting your talents, or trusting my talents, so I can help you trust your talents. So the first thing I want to say is, so you have a better understanding of me, is that when I was younger, I draw. Since I was 3 years old, I was drawing roses, and it just slowly progressed. And it was just something I naturally did that I like to do. When you're a kid and you're good at something, or it's something you enjoy, you're like, oh, I want to be that thing, or you admire, and you're like, oh, I want to be that one day. So eventually, I'm doing art, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be an artist. However, some adults sadly had their dreams taken from them, so other adults try to do that as well to kids. And so, long story short, I feel like I slowly became less confident. And it wasn't just comments from adults, it was also just society. You start hearing about the starving artist, you start hearing about starving artists not making money, just how being an artist is just not this lucrative thing. And I just figured okay, why even do it? And I stopped doing art as much from I want to say 15, because when my freshman or sophomore year of high school, I took an art class and I started doing art again. And that was another time where I was wow, okay, I'm doing art, and I felt good, and I got a lot of feedback and stuff like that. But I was comparing myself a lot to other people, oh, I can't draw people, I can't draw hands, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. And I was so focused on other people's talents that I couldn't appreciate my own. I couldn't appreciate the talents that I did have and that I was able to create, and that I would feel negatively about my art and I was comparing myself. A lot of the times, I wouldn't even consider the fact that oh, people have complimented your art, were they lying? And then in my head I'm they were probably lying. So that is a little bit of my story, so you can understand where I'm coming from. That I was a kid who, had all these aspirations and ambitions, and then they went away, and now they're back. And I want to talk about how they came back to me, and how when you're trying to navigate sharing your art on the internet, when you're trying to be more open about your art even in person, say you're in high school and you have an art class or something like that, just how to manage and how to deal with the emotions of trusting your talents. So the first thing I would consider focusing on is comparison. Comparison isn't something that's probably going to go away for you, but it is something that you can manage. And that is in the sense of comparison with neutrality. So what I mean by that is that basically, if you're going to compare yourself in negative ways, you also need to compare yourself in positive ways. You can't just have one and not the other. So for me, and for most people, the first thought of comparison is something negative. To reframe that perspective, it's also good to be hey, but look at all the things that I am doing. Look at all that I am capable of. Remember that where you are now isn't where you're always going to be. So if you're comparing yourself to someone who has years of experience, or maybe you're comparing yourself to someone who's younger and has less experience than you, and their art is amazing, they're sharing their art at a younger age than you thought you ever would. Remember that there's also older people who are sharing their art. Remember that there's also people who are older and aren't as good as you, and younger who aren't as good as you. Comparison in all directions and perspectives, so that you can understand that you are just really a part of a bigger collective that is also learning how to do art. You're part of a bigger collective that enjoys creating, and that way, when you compare, you can kind of ground yourself, and so you're not going in a spiral and spiraling. And comparison is the thief of joy. Swiper no swiping who? Nah. It's gonna come and swipe all your happiness, okay? Quit comparing yourself in such a black and white way. Be more neutral. Find the gray. Find the silver lining where you're comparing to grow, where you're comparing to connect. You're not comparing to be superior, and you're not comparing to be inferior. The capitalism is capitalizing, okay? It wants us to make a hierarchy. It wants us to make someone feel like they're at the top. It wants someone to feel like they're at the bottom. Don't play into that. Remember that we're just all in this together. We're all creating all art is beautiful, okay? Even when you don't like it. You don't have to like it, but you don't have to devalue it, okay? Don't devalue your own art in the same way. All right, that's what I wanted to say. The second thing that I would like to add is there is a way for you to tangibly trust your talents. And one of those things is practice. Practice. You need to practice. How can you trust that you can create when you're not creating? I'll wait. No, really, I'll wait. You can't. When you are not doing, you're not growing. So when you're trying to trust that you're a good artist, or you're trying to trust in yourself that you can create, and maybe like your goal is to create quickly or colorfully or realistically or surrealistically, whatever your avenue of creation is, make sure that you have something to back it up, in the sense that when you are feeling that doubt, remind yourself of all the practicing that you do. Like, but am I trying to get better? And have I seen progress? And try to think of it that way. Like, if you are practicing art constantly, at some point you get better. That is what practice does. Practice makes better. Period. Okay, I don't make the rules. Don't shoot the messenger. You need to be practicing. If you feel insecure about your craft, about your talent for something, you need to be practicing more, because there needs to be something concrete about why or why not you believe in yourself. So if you don't believe in yourself, look at what you're doing and maybe think about that, because odds are you're probably not doing much, sis. My good sis. My sis. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that. Sorry. Anyways, so yes, you need to be doing. You need to be practicing. You need to create a portfolio, a collection of your work to see your progress. Isn't it always so beautiful when you can look back at old art and be like, whoa, I came a long way. I have stuff from high school and I'm like, I could definitely do that better. No disrespect to younger Hannah, but it's the fact that I can actually see my growth. I can actually see, wow, I'm putting in an effort and it shows. So the key to any of that is you. You've heard it before, but that doesn't mean you're gonna listen. You can lead a horse to water, they ain't gonna drink. What I'm trying to say to you is that you need to really internalize that if you are practicing your talent, if your talent is something that you are doing, no one can take it away from you. The trust in that, the trust that like you know yourself, that this is what I'm good at, and you're not taking that away from me. You tell someone you're an artist and they're like, I like arts and crafts. No, like arts and crafts. That's exactly how you need to feel about it. As long as you're doing it, as long as you remember you have inherent uniqueness, whatever you're creating has inherent value, let someone try to take that from you. Man, come up. And the last thing that I want to add is that you have inherent worth. You have inherent uniqueness. No one else can offer what you offer. No one else's art is your art. No one else has what you have, and that is your power. When you think about where you came from, and you think about where you started, and you look at your art and you look at what you're creating, it's literally the most unique thing to ever exist. It will never be created like that ever again. Understanding the inherent worth, understanding the inherent uniqueness of that will help you realize that your talents have a purpose, that your talents were placed in you and only you to experience. Other people have talents that were placed in them for them to experience, for them to use. And it would go to waste if you decided not to use your talents. The talents given to you. The talents given to you by God. The talents given to you by your ancestors. Girl, come on now. You need to trust your talents. Unless you're out here stealing people's art. Trusting your talents is not for the faint of heart, because capitalism is telling us otherwise. Your mama, your daddy, your uncle, they're telling you otherwise. In yourself, you're telling yourself otherwise, that there's no use for it, that you can't make something out of it, that it can't be bigger than what it already is, that you don't deserve to share it with people, that you don't deserve to be perceived showing people your talent because it's not unique enough, because who would like it? Someone is out there waiting for you. Someone is out there right now waiting for your talent, for you to shine a light on them. My good sis, what are we talking about right now? What are you doing? Okay? And with that, I would just like to leave you with this. Your talents deserve to be seen. Your talents are worth sharing. They have inherent worth. Your talent needs to be disciplined and practiced. Okay? If you don't use it, you will lose it. Okay? Yes. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Go out there, trust your talents.